Well, hey, we can get started here. Don't want to keep anybody waiting too long. Welcome to Conscious Impact Business Mastermind. It's part of the Conscious Impact Leader School community that I will present at the end here. And just want to let you know that you're here for a reason, that you were called, your heart was pulled for a reason. Either we had a conversation or you're just more aware of what conscious and impact means. And yes, we talk about better business practices. We talk about a conscious sales process. We talk about just a way to use AI tools and best practices. And of course, Bitcoin treasury system. Today is building the foundation where after rapid fire introductions, we're just going to go into building the foundation of what vision clarity is and those universal laws of achievement, and then introduce you to our community. So no, nothing sexy today about Bitcoin treasury, but that is coming. We need to work on some limiting beliefs around money and your ideas around belief and action, and then we can start moving towards that direction. And trust me, this has been a process for me for the last 2 years. Since January 2024, I took a conscious economics class that allowed me to really expand my thinking around money, limiting beliefs, around activating the universe to my greater good, and then to really see all the ingredients that were in front of me to create a perfect way ahead. And that included building a Bitcoin treasury, that included building 2 joint ventures. And now I bring to you Conscious Impact Leader Mastermind so that you can act on your beliefs as well. And that's really what this is about. So welcome. You're here to build something obviously bigger than yourself. So let's begin with some rapid fire introductions. We were already doing it, but Brandon, would you like to start off a little name and location? Oh, let me start off. I'm Vince Lindenmeyer. Again, I'm from Deerfield Beach, Florida, just south of Boca Raton, north of Fort Lauderdale, essentially. I facilitate Conscious Impact Leader. I graduated from West Point, New York in 1991. I served a full career in the military. I was fortunate to be retire as a colonel. And now I partner in joint ventures around Bitcoin and building a safer world. I help start nonprofits as well. And my commitment is building this community for us. And so with that kind of example, I say 10 words or less. I think I'd use more than that. But Brandon, go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Everybody, my name is Brandon Murgett, and I'm working with Vince on helping with the Conscious Impact Leaders. Believe it or not, I'm a meditation teacher of 10 years. I trained in China in the Himalayan mountains for 5 years, and then I started teaching in Shanghai, China, mostly Fortune 500 multinational organizations. Came back to America, started working with the FBI, started working with U.S. veterans. It's something that's really near and dear to my heart, is making mental wellness seem cool, feel cool. Run a nonprofit called Meditation Community here in Austin, Texas. And on the side, I do a lot of consulting for nonprofits and helping other folks. Really happy to meet a lot of you. Please feel free to turn on your video when you introduce yourself, just so we can connect. And yeah, my intention here is to learn. My intention here is to help bring more consciousness in the world, more compassion in the world. So yeah, I'm looking forward to meeting all of you here. Thank you for coming. Appreciate it. Who's next?
Juan Carlos.
Vince, thank you for the invitation. My name is JC, short for Juan Carlos. I'm a physicist. My focus is epigenetics with emphasis in modulating DNA. Our mission is to elevate the human condition. This has been my mission since, I was a rat in a lab, basically focused on how to modulate cellular systems, biology, and so forth. So today, fast forward, we own a biotech, and the biotech is focused on Moreover, as in my first compelling conversation with Vince, our biggest challenge, and for us within our theses, health, longevity, aging, quality of life is a 65% information problem. We don't have access to information. We don't, especially about health. So part of our strategy is to empower people with information, right? Build community, exchange cohesive information that is actionable, especially about health. Without health, you can't really do anything. What's the point of having any kind of wealth if you don't have health in order to essentially create positive change in your community? So thank you for the invite, and I look forward to listening and learning from you guys.
Thank you, JC. Finn, introduce yourself, please.
Sure thing. Thanks again for putting this together. So my name's Finn. I'm from the UK, but we've just moved to Australia, and me and my partner 4 weeks ago. My background is in sport, in rugby. I always wanted to chase the professional rugby dream, but perhaps looking back wasn't good enough at eating and getting in the gym to make it with the big boys. And I've always been entrepreneurial. So I'd say I'm an entrepreneur first and a Bitcoiner second. When I was venturing into entrepreneurship, it felt like I was on this hamster wheel and making money, but staying stuck. So through a few connections, I was introduced to Bitcoin and had a complete paradigm shift. So that's ultimately what led to the joint venture with Vince for the Bitcoin treasury. So my passions are increasing the adoption worldwide, but aside to that is also helping my generation to get ahead and to stop feeling so stuck, because people my age are struggling at the moment. Some don't like to admit it. And my belief is that Bitcoin will fix that for them.
Let's declare it to the universe. Rich.
Hey guys, hope all is well. Sorry I can't be on camera. I'm actually at the car dealership right now. They said it'd be done at 1 and it's 3. So that's how it's going, but glad to be here. I live in Miami, Florida. Lived here since 2007, with the exception of a 2-year stint from 2018 to 2020 in Philly. I consult for 3 startups and actually one that's just getting off the ground. It's a yacht management platform that is going to be debuting in September, which I'm very excited about. We're very close to our launch date. But before I was a consultant for startups, I was in the NBA for 13 years, 11 years with the Heat on the coaching staff, and 2 years with the Philadelphia 76ers in the front office. And when I left the Sixers, I came back to Miami. I thought I'd be coming back for anywhere from 6 months to a year till I figured out my next NBA destination. But the world, the universe being what it is, and the world at that time being what it was too, Miami was kind of this new, was undergoing this renaissance where a lot of companies, a lot of people in the Web3 space and innovation was happening. And because of my prior connections here, I was able to kind of reinvent myself and, take an entrepreneurial spirit that I've always had and put those efforts into it. And so, yeah, I've been doing this for about 5 years, and yeah, just glad to be here.
Thank you, Rich. And you're a big time runner, right? How many miles you do a week?
Anywhere from 65 to 70 miles a week.
Wow.
I remember that from our call, so I appreciate you coming on board. I started jogging today by the beach, so I'm getting back into it. Appreciate your coming on, and good luck with that car purchase.
Thanks.
Well, we have a very experienced crew here, and I'm going to talk about vision, clarity, and wealth foundations in a way that you might not have heard. So hopefully it does help you And have you thought about your vision in a much bigger circumstance where, say, for example, you have a few joint ventures, they may be business or nonprofit in the blue, and they create conscious impact. What is your level of awareness and how you're impacting our universe? What is your idea about social impact for good? Who are you impacting? Those type of questions, when your head, your heart, and your gut align, you know that you're creating the self-awareness that that start to arrive at the good that you have been called towards. So that purpose. Now, vision clarity, this is just the beginning of it. When I started in January, we did vision boards. So I had like a big vision board here. And that was the beginning of my journey, where I had my values, where I transitioned from duty, honor, country in the military to service, health, empathy, love, oneness, peace, awakening. And that allowed the universe to know that I was ready for a higher calling and conscious impact. So go back to your values and think about what your values are, and ensure that those values align with how you're creating that greater good. Now, my living example is I'm a conscious impact leader who architects sustainable nonprofit and for-profit ecosystems. I've helped both sides of the community. I see that they're mutually supportive of one another. And I desire to create 10,000 thriving organizations for underserved communities, while demonstrating that purpose and prosperity are prerequisites, not contradiction, that we can have abundance in the inner city, not scarcity. As I read this out loud, does anybody have their living example of what their vision statement is from repeating it over already with this experienced group? Just open up the floor. No pressure to. Thank you, Aaron, for coming on board. You missed our introduction. Just where you're calling from, your name, where you're calling from, and a few short words about your mission and any challenge you have.
Well, I'm sorry I'm late. There was a shortage of electricity here. I'm in Fort Lauderdale. What can I say about me? My mission is to raise a level of consciousness awareness in the world, and we do that through providing one-on-one sessions, group sessions, workshops to companies and individuals. We have my wife and I. We have in our community. We have two communities. One for based on A Course of Miracles and letting go, and another one is we are combining spirituality in terms of praying, conscious awakening, and conscious tools to raise awareness and community. So we have two communities, and well, that's what I do.
Fantastic. Thank you, Aaron. JC, you were going to give a living example?
Well, I mean, my key focus is to add intrinsic value. In doing so, to elevate the human condition. Money is money. Money is an abstraction that, to me, it's I live a certain lifestyle, but my driving force is to ultimately create impact and change. Over the span of having really deep thoughts, and I would say I'm 50 now, so I would say late high school, I started thinking about concepts of attention and affection, and ultimately how the shaping of society, our behaviors, and so forth. So today, that's evolved to where our reality is shaped by belief systems, and our belief systems are off skew with ultimately self-fulfillment for ourselves. I mean, society is it's a living organism, but it's in juxtaposition to humans, right? Especially in America. So part of beyond, let's say, the technical aspect of what we're trying to do inside, to change people's cells. In order to do that, we need to change the mindset. We need to create very subtle shifts, because changing is also it pushes people away. So ultimately, it's creating a space where people are comfortable enough, where you've taken them to a junction where they can relate, because we as humans, fundamentally what we want is attention and affection. That's, even ironically, even on a molecular level, our cells fundamentally want to share information. That's really, any organism on the planet needs to share information, right? So my mission has always been that, right? And it gets a little bit more challenging, because I deal in the health space, and I think, again, health is fundamental. Without health, you really can't push any specific campaign or agenda forward to your community. So it's tough, because it's the marketplace, and just the way that society writes the script it's quite challenging. So for me, the value is intrinsic value, is to really create value impact that will shift someone's life, shift a community's life, and then ultimately, now we're getting somewhere, as opposed to where we're at right now, which so yeah.
Look forward to learning more, JC. You said mindset and beliefs are really underlying in that health goal, and that's what our next slide's about. That's about beliefs. So whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve, and that from a conception of an idea to the achievement of it, that bridge right there is that belief. So I think you spoke into reality what this next slide's talking about. In order to achieve something, you need that belief. And that's why most visions may die at conception, is because they don't have that belief. So in part of being a conscious impact leader, we talk about the daily practices of how you can reinforce that bridge so you can get from conception of an idea to the achievement of it. Now, these are two practices that I've actually used since January of 2024, and what I want to pass forward. The green card is a treatment that we learned at a conscious economics class, and I'm going to read it out loud and just think through it. And whether you use God or spirit or universe, just follow along with it, with how I treat for this every day and every morning. I, Vince, know that spirit is the source of all supply, and that money is God in action. I know that my good is here now. I am so rich and so full that I have an abundance of money to spare and to share today and always. I know that true prosperity includes perfect health, perfect wealth, and perfect happiness. This word in which I speak in faith knowing now activates universal law, and I accept the results. The second paragraph is talking about the fellow people in the class. And you can use this, and actually I have a win, which is usually for Conscious Impact Leader Mastermind, we will have Friday wins, just a quick win huddle. And my win for this week was going to do my annual physical. I turned 57, and I had perfect blood work, and I had a blood pressure of 18 years old. And I was like, oh, wow, maybe it was because I've been declaring perfect health with this treatment. Also, Napoleon Hill has morning phrases, which are listed on the slide, and I won't read them out, but just declaring who you are and what you're about to achieve really matters. And again, we're going to get to Bitcoin treasury system. We're going to get to AI tools and best practices. But this underlying foundational belief is so core and essential to getting to the fun stuff that, trust me. Does anyone else have any morning rituals or practices, whether it's a morning run or a workout, a meditation, a cold plunge? Like, just rattle off anything that you personally do for your morning ritual.
I'll share really quick. So I'm absolutely not a morning person. I'm not going to pretend like I am, but I really force myself to sit in silence for about 10 minutes. I wake up and I drink electrolytes, just like with no food coloring or anything, like potassium, magnesium, very simple electrolytes. I chug the water, splash some water in my face. Then I'll sit for 10 minutes and I'll let my cortisol levels drop. When I wake up, when everybody wakes up, we have a very high cortisol levels. What I'd like to do is I'd like to take some of these quotes and affirmations and pepper them in after that morning meditation. And just hold a vision of the day, hold a vision of the week or the month or the quarter, and just feel what it would feel like if it was done. Not even a conceptual vision, just allowing those emotions of, if this vision is completed in this quarter, what might life look like, feel like, be like, what might like my relationships be like, etc. That would be great. So hopefully I learned that in this community.
Thank you, Brandon. So after you're working on your beliefs, you may tackle or run into some obstacles, some limiting beliefs. And again, another part of the foundation of being a conscious impact leader is tackling your money limiting beliefs. And JC said, money is money. And yes, sir, it is. We just have to make sure that we see what money is. Maybe it's that tide, the tide going in and out, like where we pay for things and it's the tide going out. And then we find a wave of fortune, like reality transurfing, if anyone's heard those terms. And that may be the Hurricane Aaron that's bringing the 10-foot waves. And if you're centered, if you are aware and you're in the right frequency, you're right with the right people, you can sense the wave of fortune coming, and that wealth can be yours. So first we have to really strike down the limiting beliefs where your bank account reflects your beliefs. And there's 3 toxic money relationships, usually scarcity programming from childhood. I work with a lot of urban nonprofits, and there's a ton of scarcity thinking with urban inner city mentality. Everything's competition. There's only so many resources. We got to fight for them, which is a complete falsehood when you think of universal abundance of resources. And then success guilt, when you outgrow your environment, your friend group. If you're successful and your friend groups aren't, sometimes that group will hold you back. Think about the front row of the theater. Who's on your front row when you're on the stage? Who's cheering for you no matter what? And who needs to move to the second row or move back? Because really, you are only as good as the 5 people you hang around. And part of conscious impact leader is we're all going to raise each other's game. And then finally, the fear of responsibility with wealth. Just like, oh, wow, this can be a lot of responsibility. Even on Twitter, like some people stress about the taxes they'll pay if they make a lot of money. And it's like, wow, maybe getting an income fund with your Bitcoin treasury. Yeah, you're going to make an extra 8 or 10,000 a month. And yeah, you need to set aside some taxes. But now what are you going to do with 80% of that money that after you set aside for taxes? That's what the true advantage is. Some people don't want to deal with taxes. And so even though they feel a wave of fortune, they sense a wave of fortune, they center their head, their heart, their gut, they don't act because of these limiting beliefs around money. So the question is, what did money mean in your house growing up? Just think about it. You don't have to talk, but you know, money doesn't grow on trees. That's what my mother said. What was money like in your house? Was it scarce? Was it the worst fights you ever heard with your parents? You know, those type of things. Does anyone have anything just jumping off their tongue that has to say anything, or is it worth just sitting in your mind?
I'll say two things and they're tied together. The first one I'll say is that watch your limiting beliefs for anything, including money, around yourself and other people, especially other people, the other influences that come in your life, whether that be online, on the news, on Reddit, how people are in echo chambers of certain belief systems, and just notice how those echo chambers impact the thoughts in your mind. Second, which is very related, is growing up, those money beliefs, the parents, they were installed in our head. Like when I was a kid, I remember, dude, my parents would fight so much about money. I mean, I remember sitting on the stairs, I could hear it downstairs. They just fight. It was always about money. And a lot of, you know, am I alone here? Did anybody else experience anything like that before? So, you know, a lot of those belief systems are unwillingly installed in our mind, and we have to uninstall them or unlearn them or untwist that karma.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is, if I had to say anything in regards to conscious impact, like this is a fundamental anchor. Money is anchored to our entire critical faculties, right? I call our belief system the critical faculties, which shape who we are and shapes our behavior, shapes how we ultimately interact through our senses and create our own reality, right? Your perspective of money is going to be very different because we have different critical faculties. They're all relatively kind of the same because we're humans, but this is a huge factor, right? It dominates over. Moreover, it's one of the biggest limiting outside of time. It's one of the limiting social contracts that bind us, and literally to chains as to the ability to just be happy and be fulfilled with whatever it is that we want to do. And most of us, what we want again is attention and affection. We want to share. We want to build. We don't want to be isolated. I mean, that's the megalomaniac personification, which is ultimately you have all this money and then you don't share anything, right? So, which is in juxtaposition with our humanity per se. So this is quite a critical point as to breaking away, chipping away, massaging, readjusting those realities. So then, you know, we become better humans.
Yes, when we tackle these beliefs, that also brings clarity. So we talked about your vision bringing clarity, and we talk about these limiting beliefs. Tackling the limiting beliefs will bring clarity. And with clarity brings conviction. Conviction is passion, and now you act. So that's why we're tackling these things to begin with. So just a quick exercise where you fill in the blank. Money is, rich people are, I can't have money because. And for your real-time breakthrough, choose one belief and release it out to the universe to no longer own that today. Where now you say in the morning that money is freedom, that money is flow, that money is currency, that I spend money for value and people pay me go out of their way to pay me without asking when they see value. That rich people, JC just talked about, you know, rich people that aren't generous. Maybe that's your limiting belief. Rich people have an opportunity to change the world. Could be a positive way of looking at that. And then you can have money because to turn that around. Now, the conscious impact leader community, this is like an eye chart, but we have, you know, conscious sales mastery. We have weekly tasks that we work on. We have Friday wins. We have monthly strategic deep dives on this conscious sales process, community building. Aaron, for those communities that you have, we talk about how to build better communities and social media. We have AI best practices, AI agents and automation. We're creating an AI agent for grant writing, AI agents for executive assistants. We have the strategic clarity system from my time as a strategist in the military. And of course, nonprofit grant strategies. And then quarterly, we will do a conscious impact business leader summit, nonprofit and for-profit collaboration meetings. Because you see, in this conscious impact leader community, I have another group that meets every other week. So I meet every week with both business leaders and nonprofit leaders. But in the school community,